Good afternoon, Andres, friends, cattlemen. I am going to make a summary of our cattle in San Rafael. More or less 24 years ago we started with our pure cattle raising. Against the comments of everybody who told me don't get involved in that, don't get involved in that. I was a fattening, don't get involved Umberto and change one of fattening cattle. We sold cattle on board every week of the year. It was a very hard blow, we stopped having cash and we had to get into debt. But we continued with our genetics. We bought the cows from Don Luis. There were 10 cows and 10 heifers. With that we started our process. What happened was that I started to study. I did not know anything about genetics. The one who got me the cows, the one who helped me to buy them was Hernan Pareja Acosta, a very good friend of mine. To Don Luis Samuel's farm, and we started with the cows, and I began to read about the records that I did not know about genetics. I began to ask, I began to see the magazine Zebu. I became a member, I started the thing, the encouragement, I started to look at the records every day, to compare one record with another, and suddenly I had a decision that was the most beautiful in the world. I saw that all the cattle that came red from Palmer, from the Cobb, from big cattle ranches in the United States such as HK, Santa Elena, Wrangell, which were the best cattle ranches in the United States, which I had the pleasure of knowing, I saw that all the bulls that work, that all the most important genetics depended on the 61 and 80, who is the 61? The father of the chicks, who is the 80? A son of the 61, who is the 4 to 95, a son of the 80, who is the famous 107, who is the take of us, a son of the 80. We started to combine all these cows with the genetics of the 80, the cows of Don Luis Samuel. There were even some cows that were the 070, the 075, the 188, I don't forget, I discovered that. They were daughters of a bull that Don Luis had that was called the 923, that was the name of the bull, and I saw the record. He was a son of 61. Don Luis did it, that was the star. What I did, I looked for semen from 61 wherever I could, I looked for semen from 80. Wherever I could, and I crossed all my genetic cows with that genetics. What happened? Why the genetics? The 80 and the 61 are legendary bulls, they are all the most important bulls that the cattle ranch has had. Now come the new bulls, very good, but the history was left by the 61, the millionaire, the 80, the 495, and they will not go out of fashion. What did we do? We made the herd of us. We have 120 red donor cows, 120 donor animals. There is no gene cow, of any brand, all of them are from San Rafael, all of them were made in that process, that I opted after the friend Alejandro Velez from the last auction of tribute to the red, to combine those legendary bulls with the national bulls. Which are the important national bulls that have passed through San Rafael? The first one day I ordered a bull to Don Luis Samuel Martinez 20 years ago, and he sent me a little bull, from Cacho Fio. When I went down to Caucasia, I told him, Don Luis, is this the bull you sent me? Then he told me buy this one. He showed me a Napoleon magazine, but it was great. I remember when we did the tribute to the red 12 years ago. It was the bull in the association that had more sons registered than 280 cattle ranches in Colombia, Napoleon. Napoleon had something that I did not like, but the bull 95% gave it red. That bull came from a cow of a Mr. Solano, which was a white cow, but the type of the cow was black, and it is the mother of Napoleon. I had the happiness to buy a part of the famous bull, Tesoro Carino 991, at the time Don Luis worked him. He produced semen. We started to sell the semen. Then I took him to Caucasia, and brother, I tell you, he is the bull in the history of the national cattle raising that I know. Brahman, white Brahman, red Brahman that cost the most straw. The last straw had Maria Rocio in Bogota, 2 years ago. I gave her some straws for a white 777 bull, and she sold them for $1.5 million pesos, whoever has them has no price. We still keep semen from the 991, we do not sell it, because we have made some cows with the 991, cows with Napoleon, then with that Napoleon, and we had the opportunity in the United States to buy the rights of a bull called Manet and the famous 336, which was a bull with a spectacular structure. That bull's color was not very good. But we made with a very red cow the most beautiful bull that has passed through my farm, above all, called Matthias. Matthias was in our house very little. He was the son of a 075 that at the same time was the daughter of the 923 that the grandfather was a 61, and with that bull we made a very famous bull that was called Matthias. We have 120 cows. From Matthias there must be at least 30 to 40 donors. We have been combining the bulls making cattle. For example, a very famous bull that we had called Jacobo that was a son of the 075 with the Fontenot. Then we made a very big bull which is the 457, which is a son of the 991 with the 490, which is the most important cow that passed through the cattle ranch. With that cow we made embryos, cattle, and we sold cattle everywhere. Everybody wanted to have a heifer of the 12, but no, the 490 was born, which is a programmed cow. That is the daughter of the 212 with the 4 to 95. We had that cow in the milking and she was a 16-liter cow with calves. That cow is the mother of the 457. We made with that cow the 490 and the famous 991. We have semen from that bull. Well, we did what Alejandro Velez said. We did the crossbreeding of those famous American bulls with the national bulls. I tell you, for our happiness, it has been several years that we do not make cattle with American bulls, 90% with the bulls that we make in the house. For example, 2 years ago we incorporated to the house the famous Lucio, a bull that we make in the house, the famous Lucio, a bull that I saw in a fair in Bucaramanga, in a progeny. 3 months later I met with the owner in Villavicencio. I told him, show me that bull that you had in Villavicencio, and I bought 50 straws there and there. Then we made a very nice cattle with Lucio in the last auction in November, the tribute to the red that was made in Monteria for intermediate auction. Then there is the summary. We combined the legendary American bulls that I already said, which were the legendary bulls, and there are some extraordinary cows. Our cows have suddenly, we talked about the red cattle 20 years ago, and the red cattle did not have bone, did not have structure, the red cattle was thin. Everything has been improved. Now the red cattle, you see in the tracks winning against white cattle, it means that they win because the structure is superior, it is better or equal. Yes, there is not the competition that there was first, that a red cattle does not have legs, does not have bone, now it has them. What did we do? Who did we do all this process with? Man, my God, enlighten me. I have not had an advisor on the farm, I have not had a person to tell me and direct me. See that these cows have to be worked with that bull. What do we take care of? Navels. What do we take care of? Cast. What do we take care of? Color. What do we take care of? Color. What do we take care of? Milk. I know American cattle or bulls whose mothers and daughters do not give milk, so what do we do? What Alejandro said, we combine color, genetics, with structure, with everything. We have a good reception, we have a good clientele. There are many cattle ranches that have started with our cattle. Now I am going to share with you an invitation to all of you to connect by internet. To attend, on February 21st. I had a very favorable visit, very nice, everything you want, good. I had a delegation from the Department of Meta, including the governor, Juan Guillermo Zuluaga. Dr. Juan Guillermo Zuluaga. And when we started to see the cattle, the man fell in love when we saw the cattle. He told me, I am going to make a proposal, we are going to sponsor an auction to do it in Villavicencio in Malocas. We are going to sponsor the auction so that we can do it in Villavicencio in Malocas, Doctor. We are ready to go there. He is not going to sponsor it. We are happy. You can see the cattle that are going to the auction. The mothers of the cattle that are going to the auction are seeing everything. Then I tell you the cattle that are going to Villavicencio, we are going to take approximately 100 animals. Because it is very far, we have the sponsorship, we have the cattle. What are we going to take? We are going to take more or less 60 to 70 reds. What are we going to take? We are going to take some embryos of our white cows, wonderful cows, daughters of spectacular bulls. We are going to take some red embryos. We are going to take some Simmental F1 100% from the cattle ranch of a great man called Dr. Jorge Jair. We are going to take a Jersey embryo, born, weaned, some luxury weaned heifers, and for a higher average of 100 animals. The auction I think we are going to call the tribute to the Red 4, I think it is going to be successful. The cattle we are taking is spectacular, well presented, some tame cattle, some cattle with genetics, as I say, for example, to make a comment, of the cattle that are going red there is not a single animal that is the son of an American bull, they are all national bulls. I played with the national bulls, so I invite you all, when you want to come to the house there is no entrance fee, whoever wants can come, we will show you the donors, we will show you the production, you are all very invited, cordially so you can see luxury genetics. Cordial greetings friends ranchers, today I greet you from Cattle San Rafael located in the municipality of Caucasia department of Antioquia. I tell you that Cattle San Rafael is a livestock company that we have been working for more than 20 years with the theme of purebred livestock. As such red and white and their crosses, and we have had some very nice experiences that in part we have shared with you. I tell you that in these 20 years of experience, the livestock or the working group we have always had very fixed or very stable goals based on genetics for the racial characterization that we seek in our donors, in our bulls with embryos, which is the final product of all the processes we do, and we see that one of the most important achievements in that time is to have made 3 auctions. The first auction we did was called Tribute to the Red, which was in the city of Medellin and was made in 2009, about 89 animals were sold and it was a total success at that time. Then we did another auction in 2012 in company with another cattle ranch and we continued with the same line of satisfaction in terms of auctions, and now in the middle of the pandemic in 2020 with a lot of strength and sacrifice from the hand of Don Umberto we proposed to make for us or the working group the first virtual auction. It was a totally new experience, but we agreed to carry it out on November 7, 2020 and it was also a total success. Then based on that we always decided that we are going for the genetic improvement for which we fight day by day. So there you can see parts of the best 50 donors that you see parading at this moment in the paddock, where we see that part of those cows 95% of the parents are national bulls, and 75% of the parents of those cows are bulls of the house, what we call legendary bulls. So we see that within that same line, what we are looking for as a cattle ranch, as a company to offer to our buyers, to our customers, as a company to offer to our buyers or to the neighbor that is here near us that has a commercial cattle ranch and wants to start with his genetic improvement. Then we always look for cows with many racial characteristics in the donor cows. Cows with a very good mammary system, because that will produce an animal with a very good maternal ability and we need that to be transmitted from generation to generation. We are looking for medium-sized cows with a lot of volume, with a lot of amplitude in the middle third, and a fundamental characterization for us is very Brahman heads, very masculine or very feminine, and a fundamental characterization for the processes that we call the color is the red pigment. It is very difficult to maintain that line that a donor and a bull follow from generation to generation, giving you that same Chinese red or cherry red pigmentation that we call. I tell you that in this batch of donors, we manage about 130 donors at this moment in the cattle for all the processes we do. At this moment we are in the 4th generation of donors. I remember that when we started, at least when I arrived here 15 years ago, the donors were different iron, from cattle San Rafael, and little by little and work after work we were evaluating. We were classifying. We were selecting by the parameters that we are always looking for, and today we have 3 generations of donors made by cattle San Rafael. There is also a very important issue, which is the issue of the bulls, and in that matter we basically have some bulls for which we are always working, what we call legendary bulls, and it is a very specific guideline of Don Umberto. What we are looking for, we look for a lot of maternal ability, we look for color, we look for size, we look for an animal that we see in the pasture and that we see a productive animal for us and for any buyer. So within this line of bulls, we have always worked with a bull that I say contributed a lot and continues to contribute a lot to the cattle raising. That is the very famous bull Napoleon 295-8. From there we continue talking about the legendary bulls. There is the Tomas the Millionaire, 107 to 7.7. There is another bull that is very important within the breeding of the Red Brahman, and the very famous bull 991-8, the Affectionate, and so on. There are many new bulls, much more modern bulls like Matthias del 416 and so on. We see that we have many bulls, and we are always basically working with some very specific bulls. When I say that all of them are legendary, there are 2 very important bulls for us that are all American. They are all the ones we are still working on, which is the 80-3, which is the father, the 4-95, was the son, the 61-9. The Sophisticated Millionaire, which is a genetic line that we love, because we love it because they give us new calves, cows with a lot of production that are ideal, that American genetic line to work them with more modern bulls, and we are getting closer every day to what we are looking for more and more. At this moment you can appreciate the quality of the animals that are passing through the paddock. Here we can see a batch of stallions, batches of bulls, a batch of breeding females, heifers, and some embryos that are suckling. You can still see the homogeneity and the racial characterization of the animals. All the animals you see here are the offspring of the donors that we are showing you. I always emphasize the processes of reproductive biotechnology because it is a tool that we use every day to be able to achieve those volumes of cattle that we have or that we maintain year after year. Today San Rafael's goal is to have around 3,000 pregnancies year after year. For that we need a considerable volume of recipients. An impressive work team to achieve that goal, and we see the satisfaction that with the donors we have and the bulls we are selecting we can do it, or we are getting a product that the commercial cattleman likes very much, that the milk producer likes very much, and that the purebred cattle breeder likes very much. I want to tell you about something very important for us, Don Umberto's work team, Cattle San Rafael, the producers that are here in the Bajo Cauca region next to the company in this whole region, and it is the inauguration in a very short time of the in vitro fertilization laboratory for cattle ranching, where we are going to provide the service for all the region, for the small cattlemen, the medium cattlemen and the big cattlemen, for everyone, so that we can or have the opportunity to emerge With this genetic improvement that we do and that the people want to replicate day by day, in a very short time we are going to have this first time the laboratory cattle San Rafael. I want to invite you very particularly and very humbly to the next event that we are going to have in the Maloca Villavicencio Center, where we are going to have our 4th auction, which is going to be in person and virtual. We are going to have around 50 lots. We have made a selection of the best females and males that we have at this moment in the San Rafael Cattle Ranch. So here the cattleman that gets one of these lots is going to take the 20 years of work that we do day by day with the process of genetic improvement for the people that are going to attend the auction. We are guaranteeing all those biosecurity norms. Social distancing, the use of masks, hand washing and alcohol gel, all the norms so that we can make an auction with all the guarantees and be a total success. As important information we are going to take for the auction in Villavicencio, we are going to take donors, we are going to take pregnant recipients of red and white embryos, we are going to take pregnant recipients of F1 Simmental, we are going to take some spectacular bulls, we are going to take the best of our embryos. At this moment in the legendary bulls that we call, we are going to take some extraordinary bulls with the best genetics available to the public. Then, for more information you can contact us through social networks on our website and Instagram. Good morning, my name is Ismael Flores. I work here at Cattle San Rafael. My function here is to collaborate with the veterinarian in all the functions he performs here. I the part of registration inventory. I want to extend a great invitation to our next big auction to be held in Maloca in Villavicencio on December 4, 2021, and we will have the best of genetics San Rafael livestock. We will bring embryos, bulls, females of lifting, donors, pregnant recipients, and available for all scope of those who want to acquire our genetics. To carry out this auction we have a great work team headed by our boss Mr. Humberto Espinoza, Dr. Armin Palacios, and the others in charge of each of the farms. All this has been possible thanks to them, that we have made an effort. We have strived to do our best in selecting the best, and well, again, I tell you all to be very encouraged to attend this great auction.